What I'm doing here is opening the discussion of marriage in America and its new role. I do watch the news all the time, and all the talking heads seem to spin things around and around, and they don't bring any clarity. And that's what I'm trying to do here, bring clarity to this subject.
Religion is kind of like the dial on their car stereo. If they don't like what they're hearing, they turn it or they push scan. But for others, for millions of Americans, their faith is like a GPS that guides every turn that they take. And historically, we have...
Before I get into the history lesson, let me tell you exactly what the fight is about. It's two separate things. The 14th Amendment, which has the Equal Protection Clause, and then the second is freedom of religion. Two things that are very valuable in American society. And ironically enough, it doesn't seem that anyone fighting actually knows what they're fighting about. At least they don't say they do. So now let's start in with a little history about marriage. Did you know that George Washington did not have a marriage license? Of course, you ask, how is this possible? Well, it's because the invention of the government official marriage license didn't start until around 1880. And it took all the way up until the 1900s until it was adopted by all the states. And that's where the marriage license really comes from. And of course, we don't look back and say, well, Abraham Lincoln didn't have one, or George Washington, or any of the other presidents, so therefore those aren't valid marriages, because of course they were. The second important point is the 14th Amendment, the Equal Protection Clause, which was put in place right after the Civil War to make sure that the South couldn't ever do what they had done before. And it basically said anyone under the jurisdiction of the United States had equal protection under the law. And that gets to a core point, which is that the gay marriage debate is that they have equal protection under the law because the state or government recognizes their marriage with a license. We've been recently told, though, that gay marriage is a new thing. But you probably didn't know that Saint Sergius and Saint Bacchus, that were born in the 7th century, were advocates of gay marriage in the church, disproving the idea that gay marriage is a recent development. The idea of gay marriage has been around for quite a few thousand years. Of course, if you'd want to look up any of these facts, definitely go to Wikipedia or look up the Civil War history of the Equal Protection Clause and, of course, gay marriage or gay lifestyles from all over history. You'll find plenty of examples. It's not really a new thing. Now let's make a couple of points about both sides. The first is religion. And marriage is really an invention of religion. And of course, the majority of all of them do believe that a marriage is a man and a woman. So every time you hear the word bigot or racist, you can't really define that. These people are believing in their values of their religion. Then the argument is, well, then religion is a bigot idea or a racist idea. The idea of marriage with a man and a woman was that they would make babies. And of course the babies would be adults, and then of course they would get married, and it would basically keep the human race moving forward. And that is the idea from religion to marriage. It wasn't based off of excluding anyone. But that is not necessarily the fight we have today. The fight today is about law. Now, a point about the other side. The Equal Protection Clause basically says everyone is equal under the eyes of the law. So, if that man and woman can get married under the eyes of the law, well, why can't this woman and man and man? Which brings the point back to them, which is they are right. They have equal protection. And we feel this to be the case. Why wouldn't a man and a man under the law be able to get married? Now the question is, are they supporting a type of religion when they get married? Is it they have a Christian marriage or a Hindu marriage or a Muslim marriage? Well, not the case. It is basically a marriage under the law. And over time, we're seeing that more people are supporting gay marriage. It's not necessarily a view of a particular party or viewpoint or even religion. We are finding people in religions that support gay marriage. They're just trying to protect their religion. They're saying that their religion, they don't have it. But now we are going to get into the serious debate of the conversation, which is, what is government's role in this? And basically, if you look at it, that is what the fight is about. The fight is about, does the government recognize the marriage? Or does it not recognize the marriage? Can that not be privatized? Why not have a business model for marriage? Get it out of the hands of the government. Which now brings us back to, I believe, the main point when I was pointing out George Washington, which is it necessary that the government recognizes your marriage? Well, it didn't seem to for George Washington. And of course, anyone that lived the life all the way up until the 1880s in the United States. It used to be that you, your wife, and your religion recognized your marriage. Then, later on, it changed to you, your religion, your wife, or your husband, and of course the government and the government filing fee recognizes your marriage. In fact, government and marriage make quite a bit of money between divorces and people getting married. The lawyers and judges are always ruling for cases of the latest celebrity that is having a divorce. But yes, this is big money. But of course, we're not suggesting that the government does this all for money. And here's the real kicker. Imagine that the government never really had control over marriages. Would we already have gay marriage? Would gay marriage have already happened maybe in the 1920s? The government had no interference in it. They wouldn't have been able to restrict it. Because really, what had stopped gay marriage all this time is that the government had restricted it only to a man and a woman, and they recognized that. Of course, they also restricted the religion as well. So, well, it's very possible that gay marriage would have already been around. Well, that will end this video here. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I gave you some facts you didn't know and some ideas that maybe will change your minds about some things. Please comment below and like this video. If you'd like to request any other styles of videos or comments about politics, please let me know and I'll be happy to add those in.